A major brand in Las Vegas is sold. Nobody likes what the government's doing right now. A hotel is closing on a permanent basis, and we have the last major holdout convention of the year gone. Way too much news. Let's get at it. Well, this is the biggest news update we've had in Las Vegas in months, and it's not all positive. It doesn't have to be all positive. We're going to bring you that news today. My name is Steven. I am not leaving Las Vegas. I'm a Vegas blogger. I hope you would like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for the future notifications if you guys want to know what's going on in Vegas, because you want to know when I do new videos or when I'm live, either right here in the studio or on the strip. And hit us a comment below. What do you think of the news that's happening today? Are you surprised that that major hotel is closing up? And it's a permanent thing, but it's only a few days a week that they are closing. Doesn't come much of a surprise to me. Or were you looking forward to that convention that closed? Because a lot of you were. You were coming in just for that one. It's been rescheduled. You give us a comment below. Let us know what you think in those comments. And make sure you do hit the button that says subscribe. All notifications, not just the personalized ones, or else, quite frankly, they ain't sending you nothing. You know, if everybody who watches these videos subscribed, 61% of you don't subscribe, I would have a lot easier time delivering you the news and the channel would grow. So if you like me, you can support me that way. All right, if you guys also want to support the channel, we have YouTube channel memberships. We have the Patreon. You get your name in the credits and good stuff there. Perks. We have VegasFaceMask.com. This is blue mosaic. Everybody loves the black mosaic. These are 2 for $25. Hey, maybe you don't like masks, but you know that person who does, and you still like that person through all of the political stuff behind it. Hey, look, buy something for them. VegasFaceMask.com, no S at the end. That helps support the family and the channel. The wife makes these right here and ships them 2 for $25. All right. Oh my gosh, so much news. Where do we start? We're going to get to the big hotel that closed towards the end. We're also going to get down to the big brand that was recently sold. Not a property, but it could mean that a property might be sold in the future. I guess we'll start with the fact that nobody likes what Steve Sisolak is doing right now, and it's a lot different than it was in May. See, in May, our governor, Steve Sisolak, had a pretty darn high approval rating. Actually, in May, his approval rating was 64% based on all of the stuff happening with the C-19 pandemic and what he was doing to keep Nevadans safe. Now it's flipped, man. In May, he had a 64% approval, 28% disapproved. At this point now, he has a 48% disapproval rating on how he's handling the pandemic in Las Vegas and Nevada in general. Only 46% approve. Now, of course, this guy is going to want to be reelected. He recently said that he does. And I am not going to get into the politics. People have already said right now in the chat, they're in the keyboards going, this is too political. Did I tell you what party he was with? Did I talk about his politics? No. This is just the fact that in a state that largely actually votes for his party, he actually doesn't have good approval right now. So, Steve, you got a couple of years to right the ship and get yourself reelected. Hopefully you make some better choices. But do you approve of the governor and what he's been doing in Nevada, especially if you're local, if you're watching me from anywhere in Nevada? I want to know, has he done a good job for you? Do you feel any safer than you did back in May? Part of this is that you got to remember, okay, people right now are realizing that this is a bad thing that's not going away for a long time, but people are realizing we have to live our life. And when government gets in the way of living our life, it can become a difficult thing. We also have the last big convention that was a holdout for Las Vegas being canceled. So, yeah, the Star Trek convention. It's dead, Jim, or he's dead, Jim, as they used to say in the old 1960s original Star Trek series. Yeah, it's been canceled. It was actually scheduled to go on in August. It goes on in August at the Rio every year. They moved it to, I believe it was Caesars, although I can't get concrete evidence on that. It was either Caesars or Ballys, one of those two in that area, or it might have been Harrah's. That's been canceled as well. Yeah, the show that was moved and the convention that was moved to December has now been moved to August of 2021. The event organizers say that if you pre-purchase things like meet and greets or autograph sessions or anything like that, they'll honor you in 2021. They want you to come back to Las Vegas. They don't want to lose your money on that show. And will the conventions be back by 2021? Well, probably. I mean, I think Dr. Fauci once was said, does anybody listen to him anymore? But he said that he's looking at summer for some semblance of normalcy to come back, not anything coming back in full till 2022. That's his prediction. But heck, Vegas looks pretty back to normal if you go out on the strip, which will be out there on Thursday. That'll be tomorrow. So hopefully you'll join us. Hit subscribe on the channel. Hit the bell for notifications, and you'll see when I'm live. Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays out and around town. You guys can see all that. But the big news that's coming up that's really confusing. There's two really confusing pieces of news, and I hope I get these right. And if I don't, I'm not against doing a retraction later. Caesars Entertainment has sold the Bally's brand to Twin River Holdings. If none of that makes any sense, I will explain it this way. Twin River is a company that owns casinos in multiple states. For example, they own now the Ballys in Atlantic City. They bought that last year. They wanted to use the license for Bally's in Atlantic City. Caesars Entertainment, like all casino operators, needs money right now. Everybody's bleeding money. These operators aren't making a lot of money. And so yesterday, they signed a deal with undisclosed terms to sell just the brand of Bally's. Just the brand, which it's expected means that Twin River Holdings will quickly convert most of their properties across the United States into Bally's properties. So if you went to a Twin Rivers property, and I don't know the names of them, but if you went to one that was called one thing, there's a good chance pretty soon it'll become a Bally's property for you. Same operator, it's going to be Twin River Holdings. But what about Las Vegas? What about Bob? What about Bob? What about Las Vegas, right? Well, in Las Vegas, this means that they are still going to be operating, the Caesars Entertainment Group will still be operating the Bally's. They have a perpetual license agreement to use it the Bally's name in Vegas. This means that nothing changes for you. You're not going to have a different rewards club. The property's not going to be owned by anybody different. Bally's in Las Vegas is largely untouched. But this sets up an interesting scenario for the fact that we might have a sale of the Bally's coming up soon. Reason for that is that during the merger of Eldorado Resorts, who purchased Caesars Entertainment for like $16-17 billion, which we talked about on this channel, we've already mentioned this, there was an agreement to sell a strip property in Las Vegas so they wouldn't have too much of a big old monopoly on everything in town. And Eldorado Resorts doesn't own anything in town already, but now they own all these properties. They also own stuff, I believe, in Northern Nevada, and they wanted to make sure that they didn't have some kind of a monopoly going. So since they sold the Bally's brand and they are going to operate the Bally's here, again, undisclosed terms. We don't know if they're paying a licensing fee every single year on using the Bally's brand here in Vegas. It is possible that the Bally's resort itself will be sold off in the future to Twin River Holdings in Las Vegas. That may or may not happen. Of course, the Bally's in Paris operate under the same gaming license, I believe, as was pointed out. If I haven't verified that. So if that's the case, that they operate two resorts under the same gaming license, there would have to be a transition of license between the two properties. It would mean that Twin River would come in and they'd have to start from scratch in terms of obtaining a license. So that might be a difficult proposition for them. They wouldn't be in a position of doing a leaseback, and this is not a leaseback because Caesars Entertainment is going to maintain and retain the actual property ownership. They wouldn't want to do a leaseback in that case because that would mean that Caesars would hold the gaming license and operate the property, and Twin Rivers is not a property management company. They are a casino gaming company. They would want to get that license so they could reap the benefits and the rewards of having a casino in Vegas that makes the money over the long term. So what other properties could be sold? We will talk about that in another video, so I hope that you guys would subscribe. But if you're a Bally's player, are you worried about this? And if you're a Twin Rivers guest in other locations, does this bode well for you? They're going to renovate these properties. They're going to make them into Bally's. It's going to cost them money. In the long term, it's going to be better for you. But it's not going to do much for Las Vegas. This is just going to sit on ice. But speaking of sitting on ice, we have another thing we have to talk about. It is the Encore. It is the fact that the Encore is now closing their doors starting on Monday at 12 noon. And they're going to be closed Monday at 12 noon all the way through Tuesday, Wednesday, into Thursday. And when they open back up on Thursday, it'll be business as usual. Wow, this is a big deal in Las Vegas. The first property that did something similar to this was the Palazzo. The Palazzo and the Venetian and the Wynn and the Encore. There are 4 hotels in a row if you've never been to Vegas or you look at a map. Starting in the north, you have the Encore. South to that, you have the Wynn. South to that, you have the Palazzo. And south to that, you have the Venetian. When all 4 properties opened in June 4th, they opened to every single amenity they had and practically all of the restaurants in the properties with the exception of the buffets over at the Wynn and the Encore. When they did that, people were questioning whether or not they could maintain that kind of capacity for their rooms. I have some numbers on the capacity right now to tell you what that's all about. When they opened up, they were looking at how many people they might have. Now, in February of this year, before the massive pandemic and everything closed down, in the middle of the week, there was 83% capacity in the rooms. They were filled 83% over at all of Las Vegas in general. This meant that there was 3.3 million visitors in February of this year. Flash forward to August, the last numbers that I believe we're working with right now, we have 34% capacity in general in Las Vegas on the middays of the week. And we have 1.2 million visitors for the overall month. One by one, they started to fall. The Palazzo decided that they were going to close their hotel rooms, but not their casino floor and restaurants until Thursday. So you can book into the Palazzo Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then leave on Sunday, and then there's no rooms, guest rooms available. That was something that happened that people said, well, it's better than nothing. When the Planet Hollywood opened back up this last month, they decided on October 8th that they were going to take the same approach. Guests would be able to stay at the hotel just fine from Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then the property would run 24/7 otherwise throughout the course of the week. The Encore is taking it one step further and literally closing the doors, putting the deadbolt chains on those doors, putting the barricades up, presumably, and not allowing anybody into the property at all from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday into Thursday. Thursday, they open the property back up. This means that the poker room at the Encore will now be transitioned into the Wynn. And this also means that we have some serious questions about how actually good it is to be in Las Vegas as a casino operator right now. You could say that this is a big, giant red flag and everybody should panic, but I will give you this, okay? When it came down to increasing room rates to try to keep the riffraff out, the Encore and the Wynn were the first two properties to actually do that. I don't think that any other property has right now. Second step they took was hiring third-party extra security and having Metro doing overtime shifts at the entrances to the Wynn Casino, and I presume the Encore, although I can't prove that myself. That being said, you upped the room rates in a bad economy, you added a bunch of security at the front doors, which costed you more money, and then you decided to close the property on the days of the week that you felt were the slowest. Analysts are saying that this could be a bellwether moment for Las Vegas, and this could be a trend of things to come. My pedestrian way of looking at it from the guy on the street is that every single time I go to the Strip, it's busier than it was the week before. You'll see it in my live streams. If you go look at my live streams that were done on the Labor Day weekend and 4th of July, compared to last week or this week, it's been busier every time, even busier than those big holiday weeks. So whether or not this is a situation where Encore is just basically the last resort in a line of resorts before you get to the not so nice part of the Strip where it's there's no casinos, there's not a lot of foot traffic, whether or not that's the case or it's the case of them upping the room rates in an economy that can't tolerate it and saying that in the middle of the week those people are not paying those prices, that could be the real story that's going on here. Will the rest of the properties fall this way? I don't see it happening. Maybe some properties that want to up their rates or cost more money to people could possibly do that. But to close your entire casino floor down, that's a serious thing. That's a serious thing. Now, we'll have to wait until the take on the casino gaming comes up for the month of September and October to see how bad it really is. But I've heard good things. And hopefully this isn't an overall bad thing. This is just a knee-jerk reaction that the Encore and the Wynn people are taking. But you tell me, does this really worry you, or are you going to just go somewhere else? Coming midweek right now means there's less amenities, but there's also less people. So you might enjoy your Vegas vacation a little more when it's a little less crowded. So that's the news for today. I've never seen so much news in Las Vegas. This is a longer than usual video for the news, but I'm interested to know what your take is on everything. And, at the same time, we are seeing a Vegas renaissance. It's coming slowly, but it's coming surely. And my name is Steven, and I am not leaving Las Vegas. I'm a Vegas blogger. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for the future notifications. Let me know what you think of the quality of this video. I'm using a different setup to record it. Coming into the winter months, I'm going to have a hard time doing these outside when I have to do quick videos. I do them every single morning with the exception of Sundays, unless there's a big news thing on Sundays. If you guys want to get early access to the videos that I do that are all nicely edited on my computer, or you want your name in the credits of the videos, or you want a discount on the masks, you guys can head over to Patreon or to the channel memberships, and you have different options right there. But VegasFaceMask.com is a great way to support the channel too. Again, if you don't like these things, give them to somebody else that does. Hey, look, they make great gifts, and I have holiday stuff available too. 2 for $25. This is called Blue Mosaic. That's my ad to support the wife and the family. Now's the time of the video where I say 3, 2, 1, click. So I have to click out of here. So 3, 2, 1. Get real close to the camera. Hopefully it's focused. And click.